Hello new students, it's me, Mr. Dudley Hart here, and I'm going to just talk you through the student planner and why it's so important for you when you start the school, and why it's going to be so useful in helping you to make the jump from primary school to secondary school in terms of organisation and everything else. So let's take a look inside. First of all, it's going to be really important as soon as you get your planner that you write your name and your form inside, because that will enable your planner to be returned to you. If you leave it in a classroom, it can be just popped back into your form pigeonhole and it will come back to you in form time. I would recommend perhaps writing it underneath the plastic cover on the front here, so it's really obvious whose it is, your name and form. You've also got a place in the inside front cover and the inside back cover for your timetable. I've said previously that we have a 2-week timetable. I would suggest that you copy it in here in pen, or perhaps print it out and stick it in pencil, or print it out and stick it in here. It's always possible that your timetable might change throughout the year. It's unlikely, but occasionally we have to make changes to the timetable, so if you do copy it in here in pencil, you'll be able to rub it out again. Then if we go on to the next page, we can see the outline of the school day and the timings of all of the lessons. We don't actually have any bells, so it's going to be important that you know the timings for the start of the day, for the end of break, to make sure that you're where you need to be on time. We also have the term dates. Obviously these are the term dates for the current academic year. You will get a nice new planner that has September 2020 to 2021 term dates in. Going, we can see that we then have a behaviour policy contract, something that you've already agreed to when you signed the agreement booklet online, but there's a copy here of that to remind you, and if either you need to remind yourself, or we as teachers need to remind you of our behaviour expectations or our uniform expectations, those things are all in the school planner. We also have a copy of the Coopers Coburn Charter. Now this essentially is a outline of the behaviour policy, but in clearer bullet points to make it easier for you to understand the most important points of your responsibilities as a Coopers student and your rights as well. Okay, so that's in there, and then we'll get to the most important part of the planner, the bit where you record your homework, because for lots of students, homework and organising your homework and forgetting homework is one of the things they worry most about, and one of the things they struggle with at the start of the transition from primary school to secondary school. So there's a page for every single week in the homework diary, and what I would recommend is that you, when you get your planner, you write in what school week each of these weeks is, and you'll need to check on the calendar whether each week is week 1 or week 2. You can find the calendar on the school website. You can ask your teacher, maybe in form, to show you. Do be careful when you do this, because we alternate between week 1 and week 2, but we obviously, when there's a half term or holiday, we skip a week. So let's say we went through the term and then we got to week 1. I think half term was about here. Let's say we had week 1 here, and then the next week was half term. If you'd written week 2 here and then written week 1 on the next page, you'd have got it wrong, and you'd have put all of your weeks out of order, because actually this might be week 1, but then if we skip a week for half term, this would then be week 2. So I would suggest that you write the weeks in to remind you whether it's week 1 or week 2, which part of your timetable you're on, but you need to take care when you do that. So how do we use the planner? Well, each time you have a lesson, your teacher might set you homework, and when they do, you should write what that homework is into your planner, and you need to write the subject. So let's imagine it is, what's the date today? It's June, isn't it? Let's pretend that I am writing some homework in. Now I'm a history teacher, so I'm going to write myself some history homework in. So I'm going to find the right date, and today is Friday, June the 12th. And so I'm going to have been set some history homework, and the history homework on the board says complete activities 1 to 3 using worksheet and extension task. Okay, and I've been told that that homework is due for my history lesson next week, which is Thursday the 18th of June. So in here I'm going to write that it's due on the 18th of June, and let's imagine that I've then gone home and I've done this homework. I can then tick off that it's complete. And if you make sure that you always record your homework in that way, it will help you to stay organised and mean that you don't end up getting any negative points or detentions for missing your homework. The other part you need to see about the planner is that it's important that we use the planner to help your form tutor and your parents to keep track of your organisation and your homework. So we ask that your parents sign your planner every week. Okay, now normally your parents would sign the week which has just been completed. So at the weekend maybe, which is in this case tomorrow, today's Friday, you would show your planner to your parents and you would say, can you sign the week that's just gone? To say that you've checked it, that you've checked that I've been recording my homework and you've checked for any other messages. And then in the next week your tutor would also check your planner, they'd check that your parents had been signing it, and they would sign it themselves, and they would check that you'd been recording your homework and that you were keeping yourselves organised, and that would enable your parents or your tutor to help you and to give you some support. If you were really struggling to organise yourself, struggling to write down your homework, that would enable them to support you. Okay, and that is just about it for the planner. There's a range of different pages at the back. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be in the new planner, but there's some useful information. There's some science pages, some geography pages, and bits and pieces which will all be very useful. There's a mini whiteboard at the back. Some teachers will ask you to use the mini whiteboard, and there are some cards that some teachers will use to get you to demonstrate your level of understanding. But as I said, the most important thing is that you use your planner to record your homework and every homework that's set and the due date, to keep yourself organised and to allow your parents and your form tutor to support you as best they can.